Welcome back, Ultimate fans, to Ultiworld's live streaming coverage of the 2019 USA Ultimate Club National Championships. Ultiworld here for a quarterfinal matchup in the mixed division. There's plenty of sun and sand here at San Diego, including on the beautiful beaches, but no fun and games here in the bracket. Keith Rayner joined by Jenna Weiner for this matchup between two of the power programs in the mixed division, the number 1 and number 2 overall seeds, but we are not in the finals. This is just for getting to the semifinals.
Yeah, these teams have seen each other before earlier this season, including in the final at the US Open, and this was a game we were expecting in the final, but Dragons lost to Seattle BFG in pool play, dropped them into Mixtape side of the bracket, and so we have this matchup here for quarters.
That was a weird game we had back at the US Open. Back-to-back 5-0 runs, if memory serves. So one team went up 5-0, 6-1, something like that, and roaring comeback, and then from there, a little bit more like what you expect.
Yeah, Dragon got off to a rough start in that game and then made their way back in and really steadied. I think Mixtape was missing a few of their star players, so they're hoping with a full roster here they'll be able to really challenge Dragon and just play their game, because that's worked for them so far this weekend.
Yeah, Mixtape had a few of their notable big name players move on from the team this year, so it's been a bit of a different journey, I imagine, for Seattle. No Mark Burton, no Bert Abbott, no Brad Hauser, no Paige Kircher, but they brought in some new talent. They've pushed people to take on new roles. Still have some of their remaining stars like Khalif El Salam. But this Dragon Thrust team, who's had a more consistent set of personnel, they've had a very strong season, but Nationals has been a rocky one for them.
Yeah, they came in, and the first game of the day, yesterday, they had a universe point game against Dallas Public Enemy, and then that unexpected loss against BFG in the final in the pool play.
We are underway with the first point of this quarterfinal matchup between the 1 and 2 seeds. Mixtape in the black, pulling to Dragon Thrust in the whites. Dragon Thrust moving backwards now. Back and forth between Erica Bacon and Pat Niles. Caleb Denicor's low throw cannot be saved by Emily Regan, so an early break opportunity for Mixtape. Stoppage downfield.
Denicor was critical for Dragon Thrust to just get here.
Anytime you're ready.
He got the key D against Boston Slow White in their pre-quarters matchup.
And here gets a key block, skying over a couple of waiting players to prevent a Mixtape break. Dio Sobel Fernandez slides and around backhand up to Kat Ritzman. Gets it back to Sobel Fernandez. Foul call. Or excuse me, actually a pick call away from the play. So details addressed. We're back in. Sobel Fernandez marked by Henry Fan. He tries to get a around backhand to stay in bounds. An impressive throw by the young Sobel Fernandez. And Dragon Thrust gets a hold out of the deal. Erica Bacon finds Tavis Layton. Minneapolis scores first to make it 1-0.
Yeah, earlier today we had a bit of wind, but it seems to have settled down, and that allows some of those touch throws that you can put just a bit out of bounds and then hope that they just float right back in, and Bacon was able to track it down there right at the front of the end zone.
Usually you're able to force those wide throws towards the sideline, use the sideline kind of as an extra defender, but for Sobel Fernandez able to manipulate the edge of that disc and get it to come right back into the end zone. Denicor making up for his earlier mistake with the block. And Bacon finishes it off after catching that Sobel Fernandez throw. A pretty hockey assist, but Now the defense out for Dragon Thrust. Mixtape's offense on the line. Bryson Fox, a veteran coming over from BFG to join this Mixtape team. Could see him directing some traffic. Brian Stout also on this line, a similar story for him. Dom Cavallero gets things started with the throw to Bryson Fox.
Mixtape's offense is interesting because they play a combination of the under game and then occasional hooks, which do not work if you have Sarah Mextroth in the area.
The reigning player of the year, intercepting a huck. Now Niles with the disc. Marty Adams as his teammates file into a vertical stack.
Dragon, known historically as a pretty systematic team, occasionally taking shots, but really just trying to work the disc to their open players and get the disc moving, not taking too many risky shots. We see that here as well.
A nice inside break from Niles offers the largest gain of the possession so far for Dragon Thrust. Berglund resets back to Niles. Niles with a looping around and another lovely weighted throw from Dragon Thrust, this time for a break. Niles into the end zone to Mextroth for bookends for the Dragon Thrust star and a 2-0 lead for Minneapolis.
Mextroth has looked great all weekend so far. Even when Dragon wasn't having their best of games, Mextroth was being the big go-to player in that Public Enemy game and throughout pool play, as well as the game against Slow White in pre-quarters.
Mextroth, the reigning player of the year in the mixed division, star out of the University of Minnesota. A modest 4-goal, 4-assist stat line from pool play, but she brings a lot more than just goals and assists to the field. Also a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year runner-up. So really gets it done on both sides of the disc, but a big presence for the D-line for this Minneapolis club.
Absolutely. I was watching the pre-quarters game that Dragon had against Slow White, and at one point late in the game, Slow White put up a hug to one of their women with Mextroth on the D, and I heard someone say next to me, I don't know why they put that up there with Mexes in the area.
Mextroth will sit this one out as her team sends another D-line out. Cavallero centers it to Deb Scheibe, who, a name you may not recognize, but was once known as Deb Cussin, a Seattle legend, has joined this squad. Probably one of the best women to ever play in the women's division. Adam Simon around for Kieran Kelly, one of the additions from neighboring BFG. And he flips into the end zone for Cavallero. That's the kind of offensive motion Mixtape is looking for. We just had Sakai last round. Mixtape trying to do what Sakai did and win their quarterfinal and head to semifinals. That goal is going to get them one goal closer.
Yeah, great clean offense by Mixtape. Great patience, just waiting for the open look. And sometimes the open look is throwing to your tall guy in the end zone and putting it in a place where only he can get it. Also on the O-line for Mixtape on that point was Lexi Garrity. One of the on the first Mixtape team when they were founded back in 2013, she's been on their D-line for a number of years, but given the turnover that Mixtape has seen, they moved her over to the offensive line, and she's been a consistent downfield presence for them. So keep an eye out for number 10, Garrity, on the offensive line for Mixtape the rest of this game.
Lexi Garrity in her 5th year with Mixtape. Khalif El Salam readies the pull. Diving field there from Layden. Gets it to Holly Denacor. Becca Ludford, who's been a huge addition to this Dragon Thrust team with her speed and experience. Reset back to Denacor. Denacor ahead to Ritzman. Dragon Thrust working that dichotomy of upline and around as they march into the red zone as there's a pick call downfield. Comes back in with Brett Sullivan. Silva Fernandez straight up the line, and the reigning D3 men's Rookie of the Year toe taps it in for the goal.
When the Dragon offense is working, it really works. They have the depth to get to this to anyone, and they know that they can trust every single one of their players all the way down the roster. And so they'll be very dangerous if they can keep that offensive momentum going. But as we've seen in some earlier games this weekend, they can get into tight battles if the offense stops quite clicking.
And I actually think there's a lot of weight this Dragon Thrust team puts on the shoulders of the 19-year-old Sovel Fernandez. And he has a big role in their backfield. And he's had some of his rookie ups and downs, as you'd expect from a teenager playing for an elite club program, but also presents such a high ceiling. And so far we've seen him acquit himself quite nicely in this game.
So far so good for Sovel Fernandez. And he's definitely been one of the standout players so far. Definitely agree with that.
Dragons D-line readying themselves. We see Mexstroth joined by Brian Schoenrock, famously known as Strings. Erica Bacon crossing over for this line as well. Pat Niles, so plenty of pop after the turn for Dragon Thrust. Trick will be in getting it out of the hands of this Mixtape offense. Centering the disc to Adam Simon. Simon over to Kieran Kelly in an ISO. He's got plenty of room to put up a throw for Emily Smith-Wilson, and she comes down with the catch. Continuation of a trend from the regular season, as Smith-Wilson has been one of the top offensive weapons for Mixtape. Makes it 3-2.
She has been absolutely all over the place this weekend, heavily involved. I've seen a couple of Mixtape's games, and it seems like every few points Smith-Wilson is involved, whether getting the goal or getting the assist on the edge of the goal line, usually, because she is a dynamic downfield cutter. You see her get past Mexstroth there.
Which is not a sentence, not a thing a lot of people do, get past Mexstroth. But excellent throw as well from Kelly, setting up Smith-Wilson. Now it'll turn to the defense, led by Khalif El Salam. Last year's Defensive Player of the Year in the mixed division, a two-time all-club selection from Mixtape.
Khalif missed part of yesterday with some symptoms of heat stroke because it got very hot at the end of the day, but looks like he's back and firing now for Mixtape, and that's bad news for Dragon and any other team that Mixtape might see the rest of this weekend.
Mixtape perhaps benefiting greatly from getting that bye into the quarterfinals, get an extra chance to rest some of these top-end players. And right now, El Salam matched up with Denacor, one of the stars of Dragon Thrust. great matchups all over the field. Here's James Rod comes underneath. Up the open side. Emily Regan, and then to the end zone for Ludford. Ludford with yet another goal for Dragon Thrust.
And that's Sobel Fernandez on the assist. A great up the line throw. Tough to keep that hanging right with a little bit of wind here. And he just manages to touch it right up the line and in the hands of its receiver.
For those keeping score at home, Sobel Fernandez has a goal, an assist, and a dime throw that set up another goal. So we're not making this stuff up when we say this kid's been a big factor for Dragon Thrust. The 19-year-old in his first year with the team, just wrapped up his freshman campaign with Middlebury, helping them win the D3 Men's National Championship. We see him with the O-line going over some things. So far, so good for the Dragon Thrust offense.
Dragon has been really clean so far, and they can do that. And that's why they came in to Nationals as the #1 overall seed. They had a great regular season, really high expectations coming in, and so far this game, they're playing up to them.
And Jenna, there was plenty of upsets, but none more than what we saw in the mixed division on day one. What do you attribute the chaos in the standings as far as the mixed division is concerned?
I think with mixed, there's a lot of different strategies that teams tend to take because of how the different gender dynamics can play out on the field and how teams like Mixtape can succeed with giant hugs.
They certainly have the capability to do that, and Kieran Kelly presents a tempting target. Jesse Bolton with the bomb backhand to Kelly for the hold.
And so with the different range of styles, with the different experience levels, you can get some really strange results, and any team can go on a tear. The mixed division brings in players that have starred in the single gender divisions. They bring in veteran groups who just want to hang out and play, like Asheville Super Lame, who just went out in pre-quarters, I think. And because of all the variety, you can get some strange results at times, and that played out yesterday. I also think a round of really high winds contributed to it, because we saw in the stream game then that the teams who can adapt best to the wind tend to be the teams that succeeded.
Mixtape among those teams as they went 3-0 in pool play with no win coming by less than 3. So a strong showing for Mixtape. The winner of this game moves on to the semifinals to face the winner of San Francisco Mischief, who won their pool yesterday, and Columbus Cocktails, who won their pre-quarter over aforementioned Super Lame this morning. So Sobel Fernandez begins things for Dragon Thrust. Now defended by Cam Bailey. And a drop on a low throw by Kat Ritzman. El Salam settling things down as he picks up the disc marked by Denacor. This should just be an electrifying matchup. First throw up the open side, followed by yet another. Back to El Salam. Jen Cogburn now. Back to El Salam. El Salam looking to get it off the line, but has nowhere to go. Tries to fight one into the end zone, but Bacon's present to make sure that it's an incompletion.
Just a little bit of stagnation there for Mixtape on the goal line. El Salam was stuck in the corner, and didn't have any of his dumps able to quite get open for him.
Offline throw from Layton to Bacon. Ludford through traffic. So quick movement opens up space for Sobel Fernandez to put a huck. And it drops in for Logan Weiss. An excellent score for Dragon Thrust. Makes it 5-3. We've got results from some of the other quarterfinals coming across the bottom of your screen. Machine with a 3-2 lead on Revolver. Riot up 4-1 on Sixers. And in the opposite quarterfinal from this one, Cocktails trailing 4-0 against Mischief. But perhaps the most surprising result, Portland Schwa, the women's division, with a 4-2 lead on Denver Molly Brown, the number 2 overall seed. You can follow along with everything going on here at ultiworld.com/live. That way you can watch the stream, get the live blog, you get the tweets on one side. You know, maybe you got to click into one of the previews or one of the recaps from earlier in the weekend. Make sure you're up to snuff on what you need to know going into a big game. Best way to follow along. Another 4-2 result, men's division. Portland Rhino Slam up 4-2 on Pony. Is that the rated champion trailing the number 16 seed? Crazy times here in San Diego.
Crazy times indeed. Although Schwa has actually took Molly Brown to double game point earlier in the season. So the fact that that game is close is not super surprising, although it is still surprising.
I watched that Schwa team in the pre-quarterfinals dismantle traffic with a clinical offense. Molly Brown in an early hole. We'll see if they can come back in that one. Same story here for Mixtape. The 2 seed in the mixed division and the 2 seed in all divisions right now trailing in their quarterfinals. Discussion now as Smith, Wilson, and Mextroff talk over positioning.
You ready?
Smith Wilson checks it in. Resets to Bolden. Bolden flips one over the head of the defender to Cavallero. Mixtape mostly just working among the handlers, although there's a call that stops play. Looks like a travel call against Cavalleros.
Okay, observer ruling. It's not a travel. There, on 1.
Observer ruling is no travel, so it'll stay with Cavallero, or stay with Catherine Songer, excuse me.
Songer, one of the great Mixtape pickups. Al-Salam said that Songer has been a very key addition to their handler rotation.
She's in the backfield right now with Cavallero as they approach the red zone. Cavallero in his 9th season with Mixtape. Forced to send one to the end zone, but finds a target. Nikki Bruce on the receiving end of that. She comes down with the hold to make it 5-4.
Sometimes in Ultimate, windows just appear and you need to get a snapshot into them. And that's what happened there. Cavallero saw a gap in the defense in the end zone and just a snap backhand throw to Bruce for the score.
Just pushing that into the middle of the field for a target. And I will say, as silly as it may sound, I do believe there's a skill to throwing like high stall throws, giving your teammates a chance at it.
You definitely want to make the opportunities happen. You don't want to get stalled out, and if you can have a receiver in the area with a shot at the disc, that's a thing you should try to do because it'll give your offense occasional lucky breaks, especially when there's a little bit of gusting wind. We've seen that throughout the weekend, teams putting discs up and just marginally coming down with them. That ends up making the difference for them.
And the margins are going to be very tight in a matchup this caliber. Nice pull coverage, shuts off the first look. Sobel Fernandez now with El Salam on him, so a matchup change for Mixtape. So Sobel Fernandez a little more involved than we'd like. James Ron comes underneath. Now finds Sullivan, trapped on the sideline. Kelly crossing over to the D-line here for Mixtape. Back to Ron. Sideline with Emily Regan. Wide swing for Sobel Fernandez. Alone in the backfield now. Regan into the end zone. And another hold for Dragon Thrust. That's exactly how they draw it up as they hit Tavis Layton.
It's that patient Dragon offense, just working it back and forth across the field, finding the open player, moving the disc, looking for the next throw, and just continuing until they can work it 5 yards at a time to the end zone.
Yeah, they seem very content to work that horizontal access to the field, which I think is so critical to operating a vertical stack. You have to be able to attack both sidelines, keep the defense honest. Doing a nice job of that. And we've settled into a steady rhythm in this game, waiting to see which defense can be the first to make a big play because the offenses right now are in control of the tempo.
Offenses are certainly cruising, and that'll suit Dragon Thrust just fine. You can win a game with a single break in your back pocket the entire way. So they'll be up to Mixtape's defense to try to break through and change the momentum of this game, the rhythm of this game up so that they can take advantage.
Mextroth, Greta Regan, Schoenrock, who's had a quiet start, but I think that's part just because the D-lines have been fairly quiet. O-lines have been keeping things moving. Plenty of defensive stars between these two rosters, so it probably won't be long before they make their presence felt.
Absolutely. It's just a matter of which ones.
Scheibe looking deep. 2 players in the area, and again, it's Mextroth who comes down with it. Her second block of the game. Now here's Schoenrock, which is a pick call.
Some of the most effective defense can be on players who are not your matchup. Help defense can be crucial, and especially if you can come through and clean things up like Mextroth did there.
Reset. Back around to Jacob Lean. Lean looking for a reset, goes to the high release forehand, draws some poach coverage. Poaching off of Mextroth is a dangerous proposition. But no harm done. Schoenrock now.
Dragon stack looking a little bit messy, a little bit unsure about who exactly should be the primary, and they take a timeout to sort that out.
I guess they agree. They see the same things you do. Maybe you should pop into the huddle, give them a couple of ideas.
Maybe. Biggest thing with a vertical stack is you want to make sure that the lanes are clear. If people are in the lanes on the outsides of the field, you can't have an offense with a vertical stack. And it looked like Dragon was just a little bit jumpy. Every player trying to get in the action, trying to get the disc moving. and that meant that the disc couldn't move at all because no one was open.
And maybe some of those points being made in the timeout. Discstore.com is the presenting sponsor for our timeouts, and they're proud to support Ultiworld and have a special team reversible offer for live viewers only. Get custom team reversibles, including a one-color print, for just $15 with the promo code Ultiworld19. That's jerseys at discstore.com with the promo code Ultiworld19 to get those exclusive offer on those reversibles. So back out of the timeout now. Vertical stack rearranged. Some personnel moved around. Jacob Lean in the backfield. His brother in the reset space. High reset. Retrieved by Lean. Deep throw from Mextroth, but the boundary lines will prevent that completion. Nice defensive stand from Seattle.
The wind's picking up just a little bit here as we move later into the afternoon, so that's going to be something that both teams are going to have to adjust to as we get later into this game.
Scheibe underneath. Adam Simon up the line. Now Cavallero with the little flip for Simon. Simon, OI forehand, looking back to Cavallero. Those two stringing passes together all the way into the end zone for a Mixtape hold, 6-5. This one has been tight.
Cavallero is one of those players that feels near impossible to guard because not only is he a dynamic handler and can throw almost anything, it seems at times, he's also a very large target downfield, and so those upline cuts, pretty easy if you can just float it up where he can go up and retrieve it.
Just catching the defense flat-footed, and even with the help back there, Cavallero able to get up and use his big frame to come down with catch. So just a single break so far between the two teams on behalf of Dragon Thrust.
And this is the type of game that can turn on a single big play, a single key break. Because once the dam opens up, it's possible that a string of breaks might come through for one or both of these teams. So just because we've had mostly holds here doesn't mean that's bound to continue the rest of the game.
Now Salam's pull begins in the hands of Bacon. And a zone look now from Mixtape. Handlers swinging it across. Weiss back to Denacor with no mark as the defense transitions to match up. Ludford looking for options and squeezes one in the inside window to Ritzman. Layton, open side as there's a pick downfield. It was about time for one of those. I think we get about one a point.
Seems like it, and picks usually mean that the offenses aren't quite clicking. Picks are caused by one player running into another and are fairly frequent occurrences when vertical stacks in particular are not as disciplined as you'd like them to be.
Round break from Layton to Bacon. Sovel Fernandez puts his defender on the ground with the pump fake and then drops off the offside throw to Kat Ritzman. Two of the young stars of this Dragon Thrust team connect for another goal.
Another assist for Solo Fernandez and getting it to Ritzman, who is a young, dynamic addition to Dragon Quest.
Yeah, Ritzman in her 3rd year with the team, 24-year-old, played at the University of Delaware, gets her first goal of the day. Known for her speed and her quickness, an agile player, but I think her disc skills have really developed, allowed her to be a lot more dangerous. They're able to get free in the end zone and get it from Sobel Fernandez for his 3rd assist of this first half.
Compiling quite the stat line there, for sure.
And there with a little bit of flair on it. Offhand throw into the end zone. I believe it was the philosopher Daniel Prentice who asked of Sobel Fernandez, what can't he do? So far, there's nothing he can't do in this game. It's on Mixtape to try and find a way to limit him.
So far, so good for Sobel Fernandez and for all of Dragon Quest. And Mixtape isn't even necessarily playing that poorly. They're playing really cleanly. Their offense is clicking well. They're getting off the big hug looks that they are known for. They just haven't been able to figure out the Dragon offense and gave up that single break early.
Both offenses have continued to find success. Jesse Bolton with the disc. Gets it over to Brian Stout. And looks like there's a call away from the play.
We're good here. Was there a foul or just injury? Or?
It was a foul.
Okay. And you contest or not contest?
I feel like you purposely kind of stepped into where I was trying to go. Okay. You can, yeah, just tell me what you were saying.
I was standing right here and I just stood my ground.
Okay.
And you just ran into me.
Okay, I won't contest.
No contest. So, let's see here. Where were you at? On the stall?
We just got this.
Okay, so we're at 1. It doesn't matter. I guess I could have just said that and saved some time.
Uncontested foul and a little bit of comedy from Mitch Dangler. Just back in the hands of Bolton. Songer takes off up the line. Reset falls down, and that forces Bolton to try and go upfield. That's intercepted. And what a play by Pat Niles, catching the deflected disc with the one-handed layout. The 35-year-old Pat Niles with an athletic play come down with that one. That timeout is presented by Disc Store. You can head over to discstore.com to get your next team reversibles with a one-color print for just $15 each with the promo code Ultiworld19. It's a limited time offer, so get that today. Ultiworld19 is the promo code you need. We're going to take a brief break. We'll be back in just a minute.
We come in all different shapes and sizes, but our uniforms don't. Equipped with multiple jersey cuts, lengths, and sizes, Full Circle is the perfect fit for your whole team. Look better, feel better, play better. Full Circle.
Timeout concluded. Niles with the disc after his remarkable save. Bolton on the mark. Niles checks in. Tries to fight and around, but the wind takes it, and it's knocked down by the defender. Not what they drew up in the timeout, I imagine.
It's an amazing save by Pat Niles there, and Dragon has to feel at least a bit disappointed that they haven't been able to convert that.
Bryson Fox comes down with the block. Bolton starts. Stall count's getting high. Around 8 or so, he finds Simon. Now up ahead to Songer. Songer with an open side look. Garrity to Stout. Stout points cross field, but then takes a reset over to Songer. There's another stoppage.
Oh, it affected. Okay, sorry. My bad. What's a stall? What's a stall at?
What do you think it was at? I thought it was like 5, maybe 4 or 5.
Saying 5?
Saying 5. Saying 5.
Pick call resolved. Ruled involved. Results the same though. Offline throw to Songer. Simon, the veteran out of University of Colorado, man they call Chicken. Swings it all the way to the opposite sideline for Smith-Wilson. Not a lot of cutting action right now for Mixtape. Seem content to let the handlers do a lot of the work here.
Certainly less quick movement than we're maybe accustomed to seeing from Mixtape, but at least at this point it's working for them, and as long as you get it in the end zone, it doesn't really matter how you do it.
Great reset look, but the break side is cut off, and all the stalwart defense there from Dragon Thrust is enough to yield a turnover.
That's what you want to do as the defense in the wind. You just want to keep teams out of the end zone, make them throw it time and time again until one of them just catches the edge a little bit and turns over.
Neil Hankey with a blade across the field that lands in the hands of Blake Trantina, and he throws a similarly edged throw to Mexstroth. But she paused that in for a break to take us to half. Don't look now, Dragon Thrust up 8-5 on Seattle Mixtape.
Just a minor execution error here for Mixtape, just a little bit too low of a throw. And then some great communication here from Dragon to find Mexstroth cutting across the back of the end zone there.
Yeah, if you see Mexstroth with a one-on-one, I think pretty much anyone on Dragon Thrust is going to try and find a way to get the disc out of their hands and give her a shot at it. Great fast break from Dragon Thrust, and a very strong half for Minneapolis. The #1 seed may have gotten off to a rocky start to this tournament, but right now they have an 8-5 lead on #2 seed Seattle Mixtape. Find out who's going to be in the semifinals tomorrow. The second half coming up soon.
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis,
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
documentary shorts,
And we've played Brute Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
and a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe.
Australian expansive play. What a backhand that is. Oh, incredible disc. Hanging just enough. Straight away, the arms opened up. Zani sends it, running it down.
And she opens up a huge backhand arcing across the field, and that's a break for Columbia. Scotty with a big layout.
What a grab in the end zone for Japan. To go, sends it deep. Daryl Ho chasing it down.
Beaudry's gonna put up a big flick looking for Kinoshita, who's running that down.
Drops the shoulder and an arcing pass into the end zone, but a huge bid. Noguchi again flicks to the break side. That is a huge disc. Oh, what a way to finish the game. Incredible visionary put. You could not see that there was any space over there, but Noguchi could find it. And a cross-field hammer of high quality. Lemieux launches one deep. Running deep is Ty Barbieri underneath this one. What a grab that is! And sends the hammer spiraling into the sky. Bakeman's runs onto it.
Oh, and that's a huge layout from Canada.
And Ryan Lee sprinting into the end zone. A deep shot connects again. Into the front corner. Heck sends a deep shot. A big bomb to Fisher. Fisher reels it in.
Cuevas on this near sideline is going to shoot, looking for Dos Santos. Cardenas in the space. Dos Santos with the layout grab.
What a sensational layout. Just an insane play.
Now can they up the tempo with a wobbly offhand? Oh, easy pop. That is game.
The D-line offense is a little bit shaky. Big bid, what a take that is! Big pressure, Cole Keffer goes long and horizontal, and Quinn Snyder does the same on the other end. Big defensive wall, and a deep shot goes down the field. It's going to be a big bit of pressure from Puklemba, but it's read in by Ishirisa. Trying to find in the near corner, and Matthew Guchahannis takes it for the USA. They've taken this by 3 at the World Flying Disc Federation World Under-24 Championships.
Welcome back, Ultimate fans, to Ultiworld's live streaming coverage of the 2019 USA Ultimate Club National Championships. A little sun, a little surf here in San Diego, California, playing host to some extremely high-level Ultimate, and we have seen two offenses that have been very effective from two top teams in the mixed division. Minneapolis Dragon Thrust, the #1 overall seed with an 8-5 advantage on the #2 seed, Seattle Mixtape, in this quarterfinal matchup. Probably earlier than most people anticipated these two teams facing off, but here they are trying to battle into the semifinals, and a summary of what we saw in the first half.
Yeah, Dragon's offense has really been extraordinarily clean. You can see there that over half of their holds have been clean, and they haven't gone broken at all, while they've taken advantage of two Mixtape turnovers to get a couple breaks and put them up 3 going into halftime. So coming out of half, the real question here is going to be, can Mixtape mount a comeback? Can that defense, which can be so dynamic and so explosive, bring Seattle back into this one? Or will Dragon's offense continue to purr and take them into the semis?
I mean, there are a few teams I can think of who are maybe less scared of a 3-goal deficit than Mixtape. This is a team that really builds up momentum, gets on rolls, and they can run all over a team if they get the chance. So far, Dragon Thrust's offense has simply been executing at too high a level to let Mixtape get that chance. Mixtape's going to have to make something happen. They're going to have to take the disc away from Dragon Thrust.
They're really going to have to force some mistakes out of Dragon and see if they can't rattle the Minneapolis squad. Yesterday, Dragon Thrust had some issues when their opponents, whether Public Enemy or BFG, started going on runs, holding those off and settling down, getting back into it. So Mixtape will have to hope that that'll happen again here if they can get a break or two going.
So the pull going up to start this second half. Mixtape to receive, Mixtape to get it at the brick mark. It sails out of bounds.
Pretty clear conditions here for the second half. A little bit cooler than yesterday, still a bit of a breeze, but a little bit less gusty. So that should make for some great throwing weather here for the second half.
Bolton begins the possession for Mixtape. Simon Fox with a great move to get free, but Bolton's throw well short. So a quick turnover, and this game could change quickly if Dragon Thrust is able to get a break and push the lead out to 4.
An early break out of half certainly could be backbreaking.
But that break will sail out of the back of the end zone. But the defense with the momentum right now is they've managed to get some mistakes for a Mixtape offense that for much of the first half was humming.
Near perfect, in fact, except for not quite being able to put the disc into the end zone, complete that final pass to get the scores, and a couple breaks there and hoping to avoid another one here.
Dragon zone defense opens up the hammer from Bolton to Kelly. And a transition to match up now. Cross field to Dom Cavallero with not a soul in sight. Cavallero with a brief give and go as the mark finally joins him. Simon Fox with another hard move that leaves his defender in the dust, gets up the line. Short throw to Cavallero. Smith-Wilson in the red zone. Mixtape struggling a little bit on execution in this space. Not this time. Up line to Dom Cavallero, gets the hold, and Mixtape narrowly avoiding falling in a 4-goal hold, and instead bring the margin back to 2.
Cavallero again bailing Mixtape out, being that big receiver in the end zone for them. And running an offense without a mark within yards of him for quite a while there.
See the deep throw from Dragon Thrust. Nowhere near its target. And then Cavallero able to get up the line and get to the end zone again. He's having a pretty nice game. 3 goals and an assist for Cavallero's, leading the way for this Mixtape offense right now.
Smith Wilson in on the action as well with a goal and an assist so far. Looking for those two to continue to pace the Mixtape O-line the rest of this game.
So Mixtape defense back on the field, hoping to improve on their first half performance. Got just 2 turnovers out of Dragon Thrust, unable to convert that into any breaks.
Lexi Garrity moving back over to the D-line to her traditional role on Mixtape, maybe trying to spark some movement with some old chemistry on this D-line.
What looked like a potential turnover was saved by a hustling Caleb Denacor. Then he puts a forehand huck up to James Ron. And there's a call that will prevent what looks like a wide open goal.
Okay.
No, it's there. Oh, he's calling it affect the play. Affects the play. Okay, yeah, that's fine. It affects the play.
We got a pick that affected the mark on that throw, so it's involved. We're coming back. Hey, here we go.
So we see the highlight that will be erased. The throw from Denacor to El Salam. Couldn't see what happened early enough to see about the pick. But doesn't seem like there's much disagreement from the players on the field. El Salam back with Denacor. Layton on the open side. Denacor dancing from the back of the stack. El Salam cuts him off. Couple of touches elsewhere. Now Layton up ahead to Denacor. Ron puts his defender on the ground. Now looking for a reset. Great defense from Mixtape to prevent those options, but at the last second, Ron finds an upline throw to Layton for the goal, just past his defender.
Nice touch pass up the line, getting that flick around and back into the end zone for the score for Dragon.
And a long up line cut here. Difficult spot for the defender Kai Fong to figure out exactly what's next, because once a player makes that up line cut, it's tough to tell when it's going to cut off, when that cut's going to expire, and when you can adjust your position and treat the player like a downfield cutter. And at that point, Rod able to spy up a spot and put the forehand into the end zone.
Again, clean offense from Dragon Thrust, making things happen, and they're just finding ways to get through this tough Mixtape defense. The Mixtape defense is playing really well, and Dragon just has better offense right now.
The winner of this matchup will move into the semifinals and will face the winner of Mischief and Cocktails. Right now, Mischief with a sizable lead on Cocktails. So the pull goes up. Bolton lets it drop and it rolls away from him, so Poor field position for Mixtape. As Kelly comes under. They're making a deep cut. 4 men on the field for the Mixtape offense, which will now be playing defense after that turnover from Kelly. Austin Lean up ahead to Sean Rock. Looping around, still brought in. Saving possession, Sam Berglund. Austin Lean, cross field for Sean Rock. Knocked away by Zach Sabin. Sean Rock goes down, however. Take another look. Hard to tell exactly what happened to Sean Rock, but no call on the play. Matchup sub taken by Mixtape. Adam Simon checking in for Jesse Bolton. Cavallero picks up. Kelly marked by Marty Adams. He's been able to get underneath for some key yardage for Mixtape. Songer up ahead to Kelly. Mixtape finally able to work it off the line. Those handlers, this is a pick downfield.
Mixtape just taking the looks when they can get them. That's been mostly up line, and now just in the center of the field to have maybe a few more options there.
Cavallero give and go with Songer. She's on that open sideline. Mixtape spent a lot of time there this possession. Simon gets it off. Smith Wilson in the middle. Dragon Thrust defense forcing Mixtape backwards. But a travel call against Cavalleros to continue. Looks like it's retracted. Reset to Kelly, now in the red zone with Mixtape. Kelly fights around for the backhand, and Simon finishes off an inside forehand. Mixtape gets another hold. 9-7 now.
And a desperately needed hold too, really showing themselves that they can punch it in, can work it in when they need to. Maybe that'll be encouraging for them going forward, but still the defense needs to step up and get some breaks, or else all of the holds in the world will not matter for them.
A lot of energy though for Mixtape after the score. They're happy with that grinding hold. They're trying to get fired up so they can make that play.
Smith Wilson once again involved, this time as the receiver for the goal.
Emily Smith Wilson, another one of the older players on this BFG team, or on Mixtape, excuse me. Some of those brought over from BFG, like Adam Simon, Brian Stout, Masters eligible players.
They're joined this year by some younger stars as well. Abby Hecko is standing on the sideline right in front of us, and she's a USA U24 world player.
Despite having not yet gone to college, although I believe she has now that we're into the first semester of college, but has not competed at USAU college level yet. And a big bid by Evan Klein into the back of Brett Sullivan. Sullivan seems to be okay, but No surprise to see a blue card fly out there. Not a safe play, and it seems like we're all in agreement on that one. Play resumes. So Fernandez across to Ludford. So Fernandez well defended on the upline cut by Fan. Second option, Denacor. Caleb back with the disc. Emily Regan looking for a reset. Sullivan frees up near the end of the stall count. And then Layton able to get to the front cone before the defense. Another hold for Dragon Thrust. They continue to fend off the Mixtape defense and now lead 10-7.
Yeah, not a great bid partway through that point by Evan Klein, but Solomon didn't seem to be affected much, getting open there on the far side before squeezing in that quick flick throw to Lane for the score. Dragon just keeps finding ways to get it done bit by bit, and not great rolling over on to Sullivan by Evan Klein.
And you know, this Dragon Thrust offense has been able to withstand a star-studded defense from Mixtape. Talked about El Salam. Evan Klein's had defensive accolades sent his way by our staff in past years. Henry Fan, Lexi Garrity's gone over. But the continued strong play of this Dragon Thrust offense has kept those stars from feeling like they mattered as much. Tavis Layton has been a part of that, and he's a homegrown product really for them. 3 goals today for the lefty.
Just one of many Dragon players having a great day so far. And even some of the big names that we'd expect to be heavily involved for Dragon, we haven't really talked about that much. Caleb Denacor has been involved but hasn't padded the stats. Schoenrock has been made a couple good plays, but nothing major. And Mextrov had some nice looks early and has otherwise been pretty quiet. Doesn't seem to have mattered for Dragon at all. They've just continued, gotten their breaks, kept their offense moving. It's been pretty straightforward for them so far.
Certainly been an offensive game so far. Bolton up the line now. Stout with the gainer. And we really have seen Mixtape just attacking that open side almost relentlessly. Now the crossfield throw to an open Stout.
That's much more of a classic Mixtape throw and goal. Finding the open player any way they can get it to them. And maybe that'll help. And again, still needs some breaks. Hasn't come yet for Seattle.
As this game moves to 10-8, it definitely doesn't feel out of reach still for Mixtape. You feel like at any moment they can make a couple of big plays, but the amount of time they have to generate those moments is decreasing with every Dragon Thrust hold.
Dragon content to work it up the field, chew up clock, take their time, be patient, and it's worked for them so far, so no reason to change that. Mixtape may have to try to speed Dragon up, force them into throws they may not normally be comfortable with in order to generate that defensive moment, that break that they need.
Dragon Thrust had a couple of moments in the first half to take control of this game. Mixtape yet to respond. So they still trail by 2. Trying to fight to get into the semifinals to face the winner of that game between Mischief and Cocktails. If they can reach the semifinals, they will join Fort Collins Shame and Philadelphia Amp, who are on the other side of the semifinals bracket. So 6 teams remaining with a chance at a title. One of those 6 will be your national champion this season. Dreams of a title still alive for both of these teams. Considering they're the 1 and 2 seeds, you had to think it was on their minds.
Dragon reasserting themselves as title favorites, certainly if they can win here over Mixtape. Mixtape, after their clean, undefeated day yesterday, looked to be the favorites, and hasn't happened for them quite yet against Dragon.
Hard to imagine one of these 2 teams will be out in quarterfinals.
Mixed division has been topsy-turvy this weekend for sure. Don't think many folks expected Fort Collins Shane to be in the semifinals, and maybe here's the chance for Mixtape with Lexi Garrity getting the D there.
Caleb Denacor perhaps not expecting Lexi Garrity to pop up and get that block. This has been a rare break chance for Mixtape, but they do have Kieran Kelly on the field from the O-line. He throws it to Jen Cogburn, and the woman they call City comes down with the big break for Dragon Thrust. Could this be the spark that lights the fire for Seattle?
Mixtape getting the break they really, really needed, and finding Cogburn, also known as City, for owning her matchups on the defensive end in the end zone. So a good hug break conversion there for Mixtape, and we'll see if they can turn it into one more here.
Sparked by Kieran Kelly, who now has a pair of goals and a pair of assists. He's been playing a little bit of both ways for Mixtape, a valuable asset since coming over from BFG. Cogburn holding position over the smaller Ludford, comes down with it, gets the fans fired up. And we talked about after that previous score, Mixtape had a lot of energy. Maybe they were starting to feel that momentum bubbling up. Now they get the break. It's on Dragon Thrust to try and stay focused and execute despite the increased intensity from their opposition.
Dragon have their usual cast of characters out there on the offensive line. Maybe Caleb Denacor will be the one to do it.
Early huck to Ritzman as she gets past Cogburn. Sets Dragon Thrust up with a red zone possession, and Denacor's low throw is caught for a score by Sullivan. And just like that, Dragon Thrust stamps on whatever materializing comeback Mixtape had been planning.
Just a clean, quick point. Very early huck that just got to Ritzman there, and the speedy Denacor coming up for the assist and got to move the disc from there.
Ritzman showing off some speed of her own. She beats Cogburn deep, and that sets up the score. Dragon Thrust now 8 for 11 on first possession scores for their O-line. It's been very efficient.
Very clean, and Caleb Denacor has been in the middle of all of it for the Dragon O-line. They are glad to have him back after he missed nationals last year for the birth of, when his wife was giving birth. And he's back now, looking in fine form, and that's going to be a real help to Dragon as they look towards potentially moving into the semis and hopefully the final for them.
Big part of their team. Denacor coming up from the Texas area, I believe. Spent some time playing with Austin Double Wide in the men's division. This pull heads out of bounds. And honestly, it could be better suited for a D-line. I mean, he's a tremendous defender as well. And he has added a lot to Dragon Thrust.
Tremendous defender, amazing closing speed. His D against Slow Wyatt had people on the sidelines wondering where he got that burst of speed from.
Kelly underneath puts a huck up. And Mextroth with the help defense to help make sure that Mixtape can't find that one. Zach Saban, I believe, the target of that huck. Possession beginning with Berglund. These two teams trying to get to the semifinals. They'll play the winner of Mischief and Cocktails. Mischief with a 12-8 lead in that one. Huck goes up for Mextroth, and she just bursts away from the rest of the pack. And her push pass just gets past the defense. Claire Thalen on the receiving end of that. And who's got the momentum now? Dragon Thrust with a break.
Dragon get a break right back, and Mextroth showing off some amazing speed, chasing down that huck there. And then the cheeky little push pass in for the score.
Ryan Vanuka on the forehand huck, and I don't know how he knew Mextroth was going, because he basically turned around ready to huck that before he'd even turned downfield. Nice defense, and he just turns, immediately fires with both Thalen and Mextroth, two tall targets downfield. It's Mextroth with the speed to get away from the defense.
Just pulled away effortlessly, and a little bit of contact there from the Mixtape player, but it didn't affect Mextroth whatsoever, and so it didn't affect the play, and then it was an easy, cheeky little push pass in for scoring. Mextroth out there again to try to get one more.
Mextroth, 2 goals, 1 assist, and a pair of blocks to her name. It's a nice stat line for one of the true stars in the mixed division. So the Mixtape O-line now in a tough spot. Team's trailing by 3, and they know if they give up another break, it could be curtains. Cavallero in the middle. Stack splits to open up for Brian Stout, and then ahead to Garrity. Cavallero, power position. Doesn't take any of the deep options, and now a call.
Looks like Cavallero thought about a throw out to Bolton, but then holstered it after thinking better about it. And now it's the disc on the high side.
Deb Scheibe gets a reception. 42 years old, still out here, top of the game. Probably one of the best women to ever touch a disc. Deep throw from Bolton for Cavallero. Can he keep it in bounds? He cannot. Another break chance for Dragon Thrust. Can they score their 3rd goal in a row? Get the game's largest lead.
Just minor things on Mixtape making all the difference. That a slight overthrow there for the tall Cavallero, but even he could not quite get up for that one.
Mextroth with plenty of separation to get about 15 yards underneath. Travel call. Coming in on 6. Mextroth gets a release foul from Sean Rock, who's returned to the field during an earlier injury. Foul call against Brian Stout on the hand block. No contest on the part of Stout. So we'll reset what little stall count there was. Jamie Glader up ahead to Austin. And he tries to put a backhand onto the air, and too high for his receiver. So Bryson Fox gets another shot at it for Mixtape. Cavallero, power position. Bolton. Mextroth just in the middle of the field, waiting for something. Dragon Thrush just sitting on these deep lanes right now. Smith-Wilson across to an uncovered Scheibe. Dragon Thrush seems content to allow these unders as long as they don't get beat deep.
Trying to force Mixtape to make a mistake. Don't want them to get it into their deep game where they're more comfortable. You want them to just have to work it throw after throw after throw until something stops working.
And a near turnover saved by Bolton. Lofts one up the line for Cavallero and stoppage in play. Mixtape offense looking a bit out of sorts. Cavallero looking to reset. Bolton well defended. Cavallero forced to put one up. Jump ball for Stout. He outreads the defense for the goal. Sherwin Rock and Adams go up too early together, and Stout just waits him out for the veteran move.
That was a very impressive read of the disc. I thought Sherwin Rock had that all day, but he and Adams just went up too early, and Stout just waited them out. Sometimes if you think that the pile is going to miss the jump, you don't jump, you just wait, and Stout was rewarded for it there.
Stout is a big man and has been an effective deep threat on the West Coast for a number of years. You see a jump ball like that to Stout, you think, oh, if he's going to come down with it, it's going to be because he uses that height to get over the pile. He certainly put a lot of players on posters in his career, but uses the veteran savvy. Another assist for Dom Cavallero. He has been the guiding star for this offense. Involved in 6 of their scores.
And yet, Mixtape is still down. They're still down several breaks and need their defense to come through in order to have any shot in this game. It's great if you can put in the holds. Your offensive line should be able to do that time and time again. Without breaks, if you give them up and you can't get them back, that's game over.
Interestingly, late in this game, seeing some new faces on Mixtape's D-line, some players who maybe haven't played as much this game. Ari Lozano out there.
Maybe trying to mix it up.
17-year-old Sophia Palmer also on the field. Sometimes that portends a zone look, which is kind of what we're seeing. Some poaching.
Some poaching, trying to get some new looks, new ideas out there to try to slow down this Dragon offense. Maybe force them into odd decisions or things that Mixtape can take advantage of with newer players with different reads on the game.
Mix up your matchups a little bit as they transition to matchup defense, and now Layton trying to muscle a huck. A pile of players underneath it. Cogburn goes up early. Sovel Fernandez comes down with it after. And with 6 players around, could be a lot of discussion. Actually, it's Ludford who ended up with the classic.
So you're calling a foul too, right? Yeah. Okay.
I think that the foul. Yeah, go ahead. Well, from my perspective, I will let you two talk about it. I have an opinion on a perspective, but I'll be.
Who called the foul over here? You did, and you. I thought you said no contested.
I fouled, but I'm questioning the ability to make a play.
Okay, we have 2 fouls. We have offsetting fouls here, and they're going to go back. Go ahead.
I called the foul. She called the foul.
Oh yeah, hey, look at that. Look at that. Thank you. Some people are smart.
So I'm trying to see if
Can I give
Okay.
my perspective?
Okay, cool. Yep.
Okay, so my perspective is that you had already completed your jump to contact probably after. In that pile, there was contact, but I think that had already happened after your play on the disc, and I think I got it. I agree. I was going up, and then I got semi-stuck
Okay.
because I saw you.
We're gonna come here. Sure. Okay. It's a. Wait. Both black fouls are getting upheld.
Okay, thank you.
There we go. No, it's your disc right here.
Well, a complicated situation deserves a complicated resolution. 6 players in the area on the jump ball throw from Layton. And the end result is going to be in the hands of Jen City Cogburn. So a break chance for Mixtape. Layton snags it out of the air. Teams fighting to get to semifinals. The winner will take on Mischief, who finished off Cocktails in the other quarterfinal. High throw again. This time, 2 players hit the ground.
This wind is causing all sorts of throws to hang up, and players are not quite expecting the disc where it's going to be, and so they're just trying to go for it, and sometimes that leads to collisions and missed opportunities.
And so the disc, see what the result of this next call may be.
So offense called the foul. We have uncontested offensive foul coming in 1.
So as you heard, a foul on the offense. Mixtape with the disc. Kelly looking deep again. Help defense off the stack. Ron misreads it, but so does the offense. And I think we're starting to see signs of fatigue, both in the inability to execute in the wind, but also in the player's judgment on these deep throws.
Just trying to end these points, just trying to get the play. And sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't.
Bacon with a powerful backhand. Kelly gets on the stat sheet with the block, but that one was headed out of bounds. Teams fighting through. We're going to jump over to Charlie Eisner for some quick updates on scores from the other quarterfinals.
It's an exciting round right now as we're going down to the wire in multiple games. Molly Brown leading Schwa 13-12. Pony just took the lead on Rhino 13-12 after trailing most of the game. Machine up 14-11 on Revolver, so they're a point away from getting to the semifinals. Mischief just closed it out moments ago, 15-8 over Cocktails in the other mixed game. And what's left? We have, I think there's one more game. Oh, Riot and Sixers. Latest in that game is that Riot scored to make it 11-9. Sixers is now mounting a comeback. Lots of action here. We'll keep you posted on ultiworld.com/live. Back to you, Keith.
Thanks, Charlie Eisenhood. We just found this guy named Charlie to help us out from the sidelines. Got a timeout on the field, and our timeout is presented by Disc Store. And they sell more than discs. For our live viewers only, get your next custom team reversibles, including a one-color print, for just $15 each. All you have to do is email jerseys@discstore.com with the promo code Ultiworld19. It's a sweet deal. $30, get a pair of reversibles.
It's a great deal. I certainly always need more reversibles in my collection. They're super handy for practices and games.
Klein checks it in. Short throw to Lozano. Kelly with a throw so open that it feels like something must be wrong. Worth noting that we just gave you a quick set of score updates. Toronto Sixers, however, has just come back to tie it against Seattle Riot. Been a close contest. We're going to bring you in some live footage from that matchup so you can get Seattle on both sides. Klein underneath over on our side. Looking deep. The Hucks have been coming both ways. Kelly trying to track it down. I think of all the Hucks, we've seen maybe 2 that have been read effectively so far. Thrower's not necessarily doing the Cutters any favors, but I think we're seeing a lot of fatigue here as Riot scores to make it 12-11 in that women's quarterfinal. Layden lines up yet another huck, but this one's low enough to be collected by James Ron. Ron with the sharp inside forehand to Caleb Denacor. And that's a emotionally resonant point for these two teams. Such a grind in that one. Rather than the gap closing to 1, it goes to 3 as Dragon Thrust goes up 13-10.
Mixtape starting to look like this one might be over. Heads down, bending over. While Dragon is fired up, they managed to get that hold, not give up the break, and keep their momentum going towards the end of this game.
Now on the bright side for Mixtape, we talked about how that line had a couple of new faces on it, meaning they got a chance to rest up maybe some of their most noted stars, which could allow them to play a couple points in a row here if they want to make a run. But, you know, no Brian Schoenrock, no Sarah Mextroth on the line for Dragon Thrust either that time, so it's not like they're short on firepower.
Both teams have plenty of firepower here. It's just been Dragons that have been executing more cleanly. And if you're Mixtape, this is a hold you desperately need. You cannot give this up whatsoever, or else you are in a 4-point hold that's going to be near impossible to overcome.
As we see on the right side of our screen, Toronto Sixers with the deep turnover gives the disc to Riot. Sixers trails Seattle Riot by 1 in the quarterfinals. And it looks like a turnover for Riot will give the disc back to Sixers with a chance to hold and tie it up. As Adam Simon gets great field position to start for Mixtape here on our side. And an early deep throw. And stop me if you've heard this one before, but huck turnover. Neither team dialing down the aggression as they continue to look deep.
No, but Mixtape is the team that is a bit more reliant on those huck looks. And if they aren't connecting, if Mixtape has indeed gone cold, as it seems, then it looks to be almost no way back for Mixtape in this one.
Well, if you're down 13-10 at this point, maybe the high-risk move is the way to go. You need a high variance effort, try and get a high variance result.
They need to spark something for sure.
Schoenrock underneath. Now Mextroth with the gainer to Vanuka, and Vanuka with the hammer looking for Schoenrock, and he's got room for the catch. Dragon Thrust breaks. They're up 4 and just 1 goal away from knocking out number 2 seeded Mixtape here in the quarterfinals.
Dragon saving throw after throw after throw and capping it off with an over-the-top throw for the break to Schoenrock.
Vanuka slides into that catch and gets up and wastes little time in throwing a hammer past the defense. So now Mixtape, it's either goals or go home now for them.
You can see the line that they've put out. It's basically all of their star players here for this must-get point.
This is the first time we've seen Al Salam cross over to play with this offense. She joins Kat Songer, Kieran Kelly, Jen Cogburn, I believe, crossing over for the first time as well. Emily Smith-Wilson and Jessie Bolton also on the line. So we see the Dragon D-line that hopes to take this game to its conclusion. Cavallero smartly jogging that disc to the brick, knowing that time is not Seattle's friend. And his first pass is nearly turned over, but saved by Kelly. Dragons been trying to force a lot more unders here, perhaps in the hope of slowing this game down as Kelly slides into another catch. El Salam to Cavallero in power position. Nice continue and a smooth score for Mixtape. Smith-Wilson finds the end zone again for her third goal. Mixtape trails 14-11.
That is what Mixtape's offense looks like at its peak. Smooth and clean and easy, but it took all of their stars to do it. So they'll have to replicate that at least 3, if not 4 more times here in order to pull out this win.
So we see again on the right side of your screen, Sixers and Riot in the other Seattle quarterfinal that's going on now. Seattle Mixtape has already moved on. Seattle BFG has been eliminated. So can Mixtape and Riot join Sockeye as the Seattle teams to advance? Pole goes up, fielded by Bacon, centered up to Layton. Schoenrock, close call underneath, Klein in coverage. Ritzman pumps a huck, looks reset. Bryson Fox. Layton, high throw, defensive shot at it, but a call by Kai Fong against Layton.
Yeah, I feel like you're a lot more. I was like about to jump.
That's his disc, it's no contest. Foul, no contest, here, 1.
So a big chance for Mixtape as they gain possession on the offensive foul by Layton. Could this be a turning point? Fan, deep shot for Hendrickson. Hendrickson with position, and he makes sure of it. Goes up for the jam, and a timely break for Mixtape as they make it 14-12.
If you are going to get back into these types of games, you have to have quick breaks, and Mixtape did exactly that. Got the offensive foul call to go in their favor, and then a near immediate hug to Hendrickson, who goes up and brings it in for the Mixtape break.
Great matchup, getting exciting. Teams are advancing. Machine finishes off Revolver 15-13 in the men's division. Sixers with a score to go up 13-12 on Seattle Riot in the women's division. Semifinalists being crowned. Got double game point with Denver Molly Brown and Portland Schwa in the women's division as well as 14-14 between Rhino and Pony. Portland and Seattle in great games everywhere. We're going to put up the Seattle Riot Toronto Sixers game as well, so you can watch both at the same time, but we will be talking about this Mixtape Dragon Thrust game as Mixtape's trying to come back. Chance in the semifinals on the line, but they will need breaks from here on out. Bacon streaks up the line for Dragon Thrust. Schoenrock trying to get free deep from Hendrickson. Sobel Fernandez sneaks free. As on the right side of your screen, Toronto Sixers with the layout catch for the improbable upset over Seattle Riot. Riot is done and Sixers will advance to the semifinals. An upset on that side. Will we get one here, or will Dragon Thrust hold on for the victory?
This has been an all over the place nationals, particularly in mixed yesterday, but clearly the other divisions catching a clue and doing the same thing here.
Yeah.
We see Ari Lozano coming off in an injury. Obvious discomfort there. She's been playing somewhat sparingly for Mixtape, perhaps due to an injury. She will sub out.
Yeah, coming in on 2.
Okay, coming on 2.
Dragon thrust. Now about 20 yards away from advancing to the semifinals. The 1 seed, can they bounce back from losing in pool play? The answer, yes. Tavis Slayton, Derica Bacon, Minneapolis Dragon Thrust to the semifinals.
What a game by Dragon Thrust. Clean almost the entire way through. All sorts of players joining in on the action, and all around victory for Dragon Thrust. And for Mixtape, you have to be a little bit disappointed. You came in after an undefeated pool play, thinking that you might have a chance, only to run into the #1 seed Dragon Thrust. And the third time was not the charm. Mixtape could not get past Dragon Thrust, third time seeing them this season, so they are out while Minneapolis Dragon Thrust moves on to the semifinals.
Dragon Thrust headed to the semifinals, where they will join San Francisco Mischief, Fort Collins Shame, and Philadelphia Amp. Raise your hand if you had that going to the mixed semifinals. We've got crazy results here at San Diego. We're going to go to Charlie Eisner to get some more updates on what's been going on here at the tournament.
Incredible games finishing up all over the field complex. Of course, you just saw behind us Sixers beating Riot 14-12. Pony gets a break on double game point to beat Rhino 15-14 after a Leandro Marks drop. Lindsley hucks to Babbitt, that's game. Schwa beats Molly Brown 15-14 after a Kimber Coles layout. Molly is knocked out in the quarterfinals, and Schwa makes it to the semifinals. An incredible round here at the club championships. Back to you.
Unbelievable results.
I am shocked. I am shook. Those are not the results I would have expected or picked any day. And even the teams that scraped through still almost got upset. Pony, defending national champions, almost losing to #16 seed Rhino. Schwa did have a double game point. Lost to Molly earlier in the season, so winning shouldn't be that much of a surprise, but these are consistent contenders getting tested and or beat at the 2019 National Championships.
Listen to these teams. Seattle Riot, Denver Molly Brown, Washington, D.C. Scandal, Seattle Mixtape, Boston Slow White. I mean, all of these teams will not make semi. They're done. All of these teams have been eliminated already. Washington, D.C. Truck Stop, San Francisco Revolver. None of these teams made it to the semifinals in their respective divisions. Unbelievable. Just so much to digest. We're going to go back to the office and get you updates on everything that's going on here at San Diego. We appreciate you joining us. We will be back tomorrow for a semifinal after a tremendous day of Ultimate here at San Diego. You will not want to miss it. We will see you tomorrow for semifinals. Thanks, folks.
We come in all different shapes and sizes, but our uniforms don't. Equipped with multiple jersey cuts, lengths, and sizes, Full Circle is the perfect fit for your whole team. Look better, feel better, play better. Full Circle.
We play better! Let's go! Take down the trail!
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis.
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
Documentary shorts.
And we've played Brute Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
And a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe.